talked about a bit tonight, but more last week, and learning style that we've talked about tonight mostly. Okay? So what kind of connections can you make between those two? Go ahead and do that. Take a few minutes, all right? Thanks. Everything that they talk about in the book, because I know you've all read it, and that's great, and you can read it over and so on to remember it. But it's more important that you make those connections, I think, and more valuable. So that's why I had you do this. But can I ask you now, and maybe you're not that comfortable, I hope you are, if some of you would just kind of come up and just, maybe we can get 4 or 5 people, sort of a cross-section, and maybe go through and just teach us what you just did. Just kind of explain the ideas. And I know I didn't pre-prepare you for this. I just thought about doing it now. So if everybody says I'm way too shy, that's fine. I'll be the writer. But I'm hoping some of you would mind doing that. Can I get a volunteer, somebody that wouldn't mind going up and just explaining what their group did? Okay? Yeah? Well? Yeah? Okay? Cool. Thanks. Well, actually, I'm not from the chalk. There's a little box over here, but anyway. I'll be a gentleman. I'll give you the chalk there. Okay? You don't have to write. If you want to write, you can. I'm giving you the chalk in case you want to write. But if you do not want to, you don't have to. Talk about what you guys do. Yeah.
Okay. First, we asked some questions that is related to this, but not actually answering the question. We raised questions
I think
that are not answered.
I don't know how to.
So I'm going to poke those at you as well. We talked a little bit about culture, and I happen to have been talking to Dr. Suwantana about this because I wondered how Thai culture influenced education in Thailand. Things like Maigan Rai. Does everyone understand? I don't know who all speaks Thai. I've been here 12 years. I can rattle Thai. Does everyone understand Maigan Rai? Okay. All right. If you've been here for very long, you know it. All right. So mention that. And like, I know one of the things I'm dealing with at our school is we're being told we can't flunk a student. And we have some students that know that, and then they don't care what they do. So we're going, well, how do we address this? We haven't yet found a solution, but we're asking questions. All right? So culture can influence, absolutely can influence, but this was some of the questions I posed as an American. My culture is a melting pot, absolutely. Even though we're pushing multiculturalism, we're still a melting pot. And if you don't assimilate...
You guys all understand that? Melting pot?
Yeah.
You got that? Okay, good.
Okay. If you don't understand, I'm sometimes bad about using...
no, I just was wondering.
Yeah, we need to, right. I should know, I've taught you this out. I should know to be careful. Anyways, what do we do when we got kids that Mom and Dad are from the old country, and they are still imposing that culture and those expectations, and then we got kids that Mom and Dad is first generation there, I'm the second generation. My parents didn't impose, and I don't know nothing about my cultural roots. I really don't. I'm American. I'm a hodgepodge of everything. A mixture. But knowing my experience working in the Korean community, I saw this. Some of the kids are very Korean. And some of them are very American. And some of them, they're not sure. So how does this affect? Because maybe this group going to some of the, looking at, where's the culture typical, most rural societies, I would guess, are more Nicosetic, because you look at some of the traditional ways of teaching. A lot of it is storytelling, is audio, but it's also visual because they act it out. So you got that, but you also have, like in Korea, you've got mass dance is one way that they would teach. All right, that's all action. Okay, and I've watched a lot of this when I was in Chiang Mai with the kids. A lot of stuff was action. I've noticed with my own children. I have a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old. this was another question, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, I've tried to teach my kids songs, and I'm not much of a dance around kind of guy. And my kids just don't get it. Mom gets in there and she's got all this going on, and it doesn't, it makes no sense, but my kids get it. They connect to it. And I'm wondering, and one of our questions was, is some of this not culture, but child development stages? Because children are more concrete. They're not cognitive yet. So, this is very concrete. Is it related? That's a question. We didn't answer yet, but it's a question.
Piaget comes in. We'll talk about Piaget in a couple of minutes. But that's it's excellent, because that's the next point, and it's connected, yes.
Okay. And we also, one of the things I've raised was, is there gender differences? I'm not talking about equality, but is there differences that can influence that? Because I've been reading some things when I was doing marital therapy training, that there is some differences between typical female brain and male brain, and where they're strong in. Typical female has 30% white matter. Typical male has 10% white matter. And boy, is this centered in the white. And this is centered in the gray.
If you're interested, I'll just jump in for a second.
Yeah.
If you're interested in the differences in the male and the female, in particular the female brain, there's an excellent book by a woman named Lon Brizendine. It's called The Female Brain, and it's fascinating reading. I think I even have a copy at home, so if anybody is interested, let me know and I'll bring it in. I can lend it to you.
I'd love to read it.
Yeah, okay, well I'll bring it in and I'll lend it to you, and then you can pass it on to others that are interested.
This was related very much in how we counsel.
Yeah.
Because
sure.
This is a difference. Doesn't make us unequal, just different.
Yeah.
Okay, please understand that. But we had raised those questions: gender, the melting pot effect, and development stages. Of course, then the question is, what's the development stages of an adult? When we're dealing with older kids, where are they at? And I don't have enough psychology yet. I've had one psychology course, so I'm lacking there. But we raised those questions, and what was the other one? I didn't write it down. We started talking about something and sidetracked it. Oh, we've got some examples we thought of, looking at the Afro-American culture, and looking at how much rap music is a way they tell story. And you see it's audio, but I'm going, there's so much, the video MTV mentality. Well, that's visual and audio. And I'm going, but is this because of culture? They're very far removed from their traditional cultures as far as what actually is African, and there's many cultures there, not just one, there's thousands. Or is this something that a phenomenon developed within the American Black culture? But you can see it in other cultures. Maybe it's just music. Maybe more of this is not culture, but human. Issues of being human. So, I've raised a lot of questions. I'm sorry for breaking the board. I'm going 90 miles an hour.
It's okay, but hang on to those, and let's just kind of bring them up as we go along, because you've got that sort of a good 5 or 6 weeks worth there, but that's okay, because just bring them up as we go along, because let's try to get through some of that before, in fact, one of them we'll be talking about in a couple of minutes. But hold the questions, don't throw them away, hang on to those, because I want to see that let's see if we can get through some of that over the next few weeks. Well, excellent, thank you.
Okay.
Very nicely done. It's good, mate. Okay, that's great. Do we have another person who would be brave and jump in here and give us some ideas? Thank you very much for that. Come on, it's got to be someone else. Ready to, go ahead, please. Yes, thank you.
Can I stand here? Actually, I have many things to talk, but I want you to disturb for your time.